It's literally worse than 9/11.
Yeah, we're stumbling on controversial ground here.
Oh no, I know how to open the podcast up.
All right.
Tales from the Fic. It's actually about ethics in games journalism. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. I'll just bring the show in by starting it with the introductions and everything, I suppose, then.
Of course.
Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. That's how I start the show now. Forever. Yeah, that's how it's going to be forever. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tales from the Fic. I am your host, Frank Margarella, and with me today is Keith McIntyre.
Hey, you fuckface.
And guesting for us today is Sean Brown.
Hello.
Now, we were supposed to be doing Twilight this week, but Sarah got shit-faced last night, and, well, then again, so do I, but I guess she's just not good with alcohols, probably.
I love lightweights. Lightweights are hilarious.
The thing is, she could probably drink me under the table, too. Alright, yeah, so this week, instead, we're going to do Pokemon. And Keith and I decided in private, inside of a small room with candles, that if we ever do Pokemon, we will bring Sean Brown into the podcast, because he's a friend of ours who is very much into Pokemon.
Yeah.
The nice term is Pokemon otaku.
Yeah.
But most people would call him a weeb who likes Gardevoir way too much.
Yeah, most notably, he's very much into Gardevoir, and could you really blame him? The crimes of Sean Brown.
Yeah.
That's my favorite hashtag, is the crimes of Sean Brown.
Yeah, people like to toss that one around a lot.
Every time I see it, I feel a little bit happier. Alright. I'm in the Pokemon games section of fanfiction.net, looking for an M-rated thing.
Oh, so you're hand-picking one for me.
Yeah. I'm going to look up horror.
Well, considering that
it's 2
Halloween,
days past Halloween.
days ago, Halloween was 2 days ago, that seems appropriate.
Well,
Actually, no, this isn't the Halloween special. This is the Daylight Savings Time special. We're going to celebrate every holiday.
So
Alright,
then what are we doing for Canada Day?
Fucking nothing. Alright, Sean, do you want to do it for the anime the Pokemon anime, the Pokemon games, or the Pokemon manga?
that's a good question. I guess the anime.
Alright, anime, got it.
Well, since that's the one everybody knows.
Well, no, the games. Let's do the games. Was that a category?
Yeah, there's a category for games, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Alright, now do you want it in Indonesian or French? No, I'm just going to do English. And...
I would love to hear Sean Brown try to do it in French.
Oh, regardez-vous! Oui, oui.
Oh.
If you add Lee to everything, that just makes people think that you're a big fat neckbeard who's way obsessed with Reddit.
Yeah. I kind of have a story prepared, but it was like midnight last night, and I kind of was like, well, I guess I should write something on my notes. And then I kind of just wrote like a 2-minute story about myself and Gardevoir.
Yeah, that's fine. They can be as short.
Better than anything we probably got.
I have something. There we go. Sort by reviews. Oh, here, this one called Gardevoir, A Lamentation of Love.
Oh, awesome.
We're going to be doing that one, that's for sure. Let me check it out.
Wonder how long it is.
I searched for under 1,000 words.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This got some really weird, like, font going on here. There's, like some words are, like, half... Like, they're like, half bold, and one of the letters is just like italicized in a few parts of it.
Actually, I remember reading Sonic fanfic with friends, and I was like, alright guys, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this. And I finished the first chapter, and then I saw that there were 15 chapters or more, and yeah.
I'm kind of scared now that I remembered that this Gardevoir story is in horror. They also got Lavender Town Massacre because it's got spooky, scary ghosts in it.
I might, you know what, later I might try to find like the longest Gardevoir story I can find.
You know, if I was going to do Pokeporn, I would just do a doujin and not read a story. Because the stories are usually written by Baka Gaijin who don't know what they're talking about.
Well, I mean, if I read a doujin, I'd have to like do like the visual, like the noises too, like they have a lot of those in a comic book.
I would love to see Jonathan Holmes read fan fiction.
Very dirty fan fiction at that.
Oh.
Like the kind of stuff we read.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I found the best one for Sean to read.
Yes.
It's called Remembrance of a Squirt, but we'll get to that later.
Oh my
That's
god.
for another time, my dears. All right, so Sean, since you're reading since you're going to be ending the show with the podcast with the fan fiction we found on the internet, would you like to go first?
Yeah. Do I just read my little short thing I did last night, or what?
Yeah, sure. Just read it out and do the best you can.
All right.
I have faith in you.
All right. Well, here it is. There once was a Pokemon trainer, right? His name was John Brown, and he had the greatest and sexiest Pokemon ever, Gardevoir. Gardevoir is actually the waifu Pokemon, true fact. And Gardevoir was Sean's waifu. But one day, right? Team Rocket, they tried to steal Gardevoir because they're bad people and meanies. So then Sean, he pushed them down and kicked them a lot until they hurt really bad. And then Gardevoir thought that was really cool and hot, so she gave Sean a deep kissing and on the lips. And then she did the sex to him. And yeah, and then that happened, and then how did you like my story?
I thought it was all right.
I thought it had a great ending.
How high were you when you wrote this?
How high are you now?
I was going to ask that. You sounded a little stoned there. Nothing wrong with that. We don't judge.
No, never. No, never. It was, no.
Got to say that because you're on parole, aren't you? The crimes of Sean Brown.
Deserve much punishment. Bend over, let me get my whip.
You had to sit on Gardevoir's chest now.
Dude, I'm drawing Gardevoir a lot more lately, actually. Like, I'll just doodle it in class.
You're a very good artist. I've seen some of those drawings.
Yeah, no, you're an incredible artist.
And for how young and supple you are, you're a very good artist.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm actually drawing another person.
Awesome.
Right? Yeah. It's my dad. My dad.
Cool.
I gotta ask, how does your dad feel about you being a dirty, filthy otaku?
I don't think he realizes it that much, but he knows.
Actually, it's the same with my parents. They have no idea that I'm this big of a nerd.
He knows I'm pretty geek.
My parents are very much in the know about everything about me. It's quite horrifying. So So, Sean, how does your dad feel about you being a criminal?
He doesn't know about that.
Well, he does now. I just sent him an email. Fully detailing every crime you've ever done. Crime number 1, Gardevoir.
Oh,
Crime number 2, Ralts. That was your worst crime. Crime number 3, Jigglypuff.
He may have done the crime, but he will never do the he will never do the time.
He's too something to go to jail. I don't know. Yeah. I don't want to call an underage person too sexy to go to jail.
Yeah.
Do you think I could go to jail for having this podcast now?
Maybe.
That'd be a fun afternoon.
No joke on that one.
I think the Swedish Elijah man messaged me. I think he's trying to ask me about the
podcast. Keith, would you like to go next?
Yes. All right. This one is simply called Red X Mewtwo.
You like these flash fictions, don't you?
Yes, I do. So one day, Red was training his Pokemon in a wide open field when suddenly out of the sky came a bright flash, and in a deep voice he heard, "Release those Pokemon." And he looked around, and he didn't see anything. Again, "Release those Pokemon." And so he looks up and he sees Mewtwo coming out of the sky like a freaking messiah. And starts throwing his Pokemons out because he's outnumbered. And then Mewtwo with his psychic powers bends Red over and starts popping Pokeballs up his butthole. Just with his psychic powers. Just pop, pop, pop. And then you can hear a loud voice saying, "You bad donkey!"
Oh God, no, not again.
Mad donkey! And then out of the woods bursts Shrek. And he goes to Mewtwo, and he hits Mewtwo in the head, and Mewtwo flies back up into the sky.
This isn't gonna work when we do the actual Shrek episode.
And then Shrek goes over to Red with the Pokeball still far up him, and he puts his ogreness into him, and he says, "You mad donkey!" And then he whispers in Red's ear, "Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Hail Gardevoir!" and flies off.
Yeah. Hail Gardevoir.
I'm glad we can keep things new and fresh for this week.
It's called a running gag. Get with it, Frankie Can.
I bet Shrek would love to have a running gag.
Yeah,
he just gets a running start and then just jams his dick right down someone's throat. Yeehaw.
Oh. Before this, I was listening to a Destructoid podcast that they have. It's called Radio D-Toy.
All right.
And I actually asked a question on there, like a couple of days ago, where I was like, Gardevoir? And I think they answered it because I was reading the description and it said we talk about Pokemon Rule 34. Oh, I haven't gotten to that part yet.
You don't even have to ask do they talk about Rule 34 because of Gardevoir? It's just always implied that if you say Gardevoir, a discussion on Rule 34 in Pokemon will be started at some point.
Yeah.
Discussion worth having.
It has much artistic merit.
It's a wonderful Pokemon that way.
Keith, I actually have been planning on doing a Shrek episode, and we could probably get Thomas Strong on for that episode. I actually have talked to him about this, and he's agreed to do it.
Yeah,
so,
I like that guy. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
He is a lovely young man. Uh, I I just can't wait to see what you do for that, Keith.
Something completely unexpected, I'm sure.
It's either going to have Shrek or it's not going to have Shrek. It's like a switch you can flip, and either of them will be, in a way, unexpected yet expected.
You'll see. You'll see.
Oh god, now I'm terrified. All right, I guess I'll do mine, and then while I'm gonna send this one over to Sean.
Right.
And that's the one you're gonna read. Oh god. I read I skimmed it a bit. There might be stuff in there, who knows. But it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Alright. So my fan fiction of the week is called Pokémon Erotica by Frank Margarella, age 5. Greetings, Pokemon Trainer Blue, said Pokemon Trainer Red, grabbing his fucking ballsack maliciously. How are you on this fine morning in the Pallet Town? I'm doing quite alright, said Blue, his gasping anus roaring with desire and lust. You? I'm okay, replied Red, his pre-cum-covered cock glistening in the sun. But I feel much better after a Pokemon battle with our Game Freak and Nintendo licensed Pokemon featuring the Pokemon that have been in such hit games as Pokemon. Yes, said Blue, his tired eyes gazing directly at Red's turgid fucking penis. Red began by furiously mashing his fat fucking cock up and down, until he spunked a massive fucking load of cum out to the end of his penis.
Oh my.
Blue followed up this attack by snatching up the nearest tree branch, graciously bending over, and firmly jamming the gnarled stick right up his sly hovis. Undaunted by Blue's bold move, Red began pooping in his left hand, greasing the shitty mash between his fingers. Fully lubricated, Red's fist slid easily past his lips and teeth, down his throat, through his digestive system, and began giving himself a reverse prostate massage. Golly, sniped Blue, this is worse than 9/11, which hasn't happened yet because this is 1997. Knowing he'd need to resort to dire measures to win this Pokemon battle, Blue began tearing off his own flesh and then fucking his curtain-like skin with his wiener, constantly pissing. No! Shouted Red. Squirtle is weak to electric attacks! Haha, fuck you, growled Blue, victory clenching his ass cheeks. Red stood defeated, tears in his eyes, and only partially erect. Blue, being a swell fucking guy, put his hand on Red's shoulder to comfort him. Red looked into the gorgeous eyes of his rival. How about round two? Seductively whispered Red, pulling a puppy and a bottle opener out from behind his back. The end.
That reminds me of that one South Park episode, the poop who took a pee.
Yeah, I found this in an old closet from when I was 5 years old.
Yeah,
So
wonderful.
brings back memories.
I didn't really write anything when I was 5. I kind of just pretended I was a T-Rex. And kind of, yeah.
You were drawing Gardevoir back then, too, I assume.
Oh, probably.
Gardevoir was out when he was... I think it was all Mr. Mime.
I'm a
Humanoid Pokemon that I remember.
Game Freak.
I did that.
Game Freak to base Gardevoir off of your experiences.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
I wonder if it was his love of war that made it work.
Oh.
I mean, Gardevoir?
Ba-da-bum, ba-da-ba-da-bum, ba-da-ba-da-bum, ba-da-bum.
I realized that... Oh, yeah?
No, go ahead.
Well, I realized that as I was skimming over the story, I have to I have to read this in a louder, clearer tone, and I kind of have family around. But I gotta do what I gotta do.
Oh boy. Can we trust you, Sean? Like,
yeah.
if you really don't feel comfortable, I will read it. It might actually be a crime to have you read this.
I mean, I went over it and I was like,
Well, I mean, considering the person who wrote it is probably, underage. I don't think it's,
Yeah, it's totally legit if that's the case. We will roll the dice on this one.
Yeah, I was looking over it and I was like, I think my voice is gonna ring through the door when I read this.
Well, I live with family. I've probably made them all disgusted with me by this point.
Frank, you should do it so my brother doesn't silently judge me.
So, okay, you want me to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Remembrance of a Squirt by Kurai Dark, the thrilling sequel to the epic A Squirt to Remember, in which James's sordid identity is revealed. This is a romance horror, 545 words, published March 27th, 2013, on fanfiction.net.
Lovely.
Rated M for mature. Remembrance of the Squirt, Chapter 1. Meow! She cried out. The small pink cat arched her back in ecstasy. Meow! The pleasant spot between her legs squelched and oozed pink fluid, whilst she pleasured herself mercilessly. Mew, mew, mew! She glared over at the Doug trio watching her across the forest clearing. The trio bopped up and down in agreement, and were by her side, or rather between her thighs. Trio, trio, trio! They droned on as they each took it in turns to plow their domed heads into her sweet-smelling garden of erroneous pleasure. Chapter 2. Chansey was so turned on by the foursome, her egg practically shattered as she shoved it deep into her crevasse.
Oh my god.
Chapter 3. Tangela! The tangled hot mess sidled over to Chansey. One of his long vines untangled itself and wandered over Chansey's nipples. She didn't bother to stop him, whilst her egg yolk dripped down the inside of her thigh. Then she moaned, Chansey! Her eyes rolling into the back of her head. Angela unraveled 2 more vines and sunk them into her vagina. A 4th vine worked its way into her mouth, which Chansey chewed and sucked. Tang! Chansey! Then a 5th vine, also squeezing its way into her vagina. Then a 6th. Her eyes bulged. A 7th. A new one popped out of her pouch in surprise. An 8th. Chansey! Chapter D.
Chapter D?
Chapter D.
Alright.
It's only 5 words, but it just keeps going.
Tugging.
It'll never end.
Yeah. Chapter D. Alright.
Tugging. Exquisite tugging. Yes. Delicious. Wowza! Said the 8-foot gargantuan longitudinal chomping device. What time is it? It was James of Team Rocket. He struck a pose. A naked pose. To provide the world with intense sex. To enter all birds, fish, and insects. To capture and lay each and every type. To bend them over and do what I like. Sexy. James. Team Rocket. Pounding holes with all my might! James stops suddenly. He sees something on his Voyeur View System 2009. No, it's not Chansey and Tangela in the forest. It's actually Zapdos and Magikarp on a seashore. Zapdos relentlessly zaps the helpless fish. Sorry, I'm drinking coffee. Each zap causing an unimaginable pain for the fish, but the undeniable pleasure of Zapdos. Soon Zapdos is screeching, Zap! 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 Harder and faster! Zap! The lightning bird type releases a final blast, and the Magikarp explodes in a cacophony of scales and electric sheep. Yes! James moaned as he watched the seaside rape, biting his lower lip. Soon I will sex them all! Chapter 5. Jigglypuff ate the muff. Bitch eat that plum in the evening. Flick that tongue deep in. Pikachu. Chapter 6. James flew over the world in his big pink phallic balloon. He looked down at all the Pokemon he sought to conquest. There was a Nidoking prancing around in his queen's black satin underwear, whilst fiddling with the tendrils of a tentacool. Here was a Bulbasaur, having his bulbous cock sucked by a Jinx. There, by a river, was a Rattata and a Zubat performing a sexual ritual involving stained blankets and tears of desperation. James smiled at it all. His penis was erect, but it was so tiny he'd barely noticed if it was staring right at you, which it probably is. Epilogue. Both did not know that James was a Poke rapist. Soon they would. Finn.
Wonderful. That was a great story.
I have a feeling
that's pretty much the worst thing ever.
I have a feeling that this was the worst episode we'll ever have, and so we can only really go uphill from here.
Yeah. You know,
Oh, don't worry. We thought the same thing about the Shattered Dome, but it got worse.
you know, I like Chansey as a Pokemon. Yeah, I could like cuddle up next to a Chansey.
I mean, hell, if I was a Pokemon, I'd have sex with James too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What do you think, Keith?
I'm
Opinion?
still trying to process how so much horribleness could be squished into 500 words.
I want your opinion on.
He could have added Shrek. He could have added Shrek and it would have gotten much worse.
Oh my God.
The running gag. I had to keep it going.
Alright, so I guess maybe we should wrap up the show at this point.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, Sean, you can just say any social media things. You have like a Twitter thing. Anything you want to close out the show with?
No, not really. I mean, no, I'm good. My Twitter is kind of just me retweeting like an anime butt or two and then saying a thing.
Okay. Keith?
You can find me at my personal stuff at Twitter on the Shattered or at Shattered Human. You can find my music on SoundCloud.com/PreacherCasey or on Facebook.com/PreacherCasey. I have an album coming out pretty soon, and am working on publishing a book, which hopefully will be completed pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that stuff.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I'm Frank Margarella. You can find me on Twitter by that exact same name, Margarella. I don't do much else. And next week, we will hopefully have Sarah back again in time to do our Twilight episode, which we were planning on doing this week.
Hooray!
Ta-ta for now, folks. Ah! Hey guys, Frank Margarella here. Thank you for listening to this week of Tales from the Fic, featuring Sean Brown, also known for his Crimes Against Humanity and Gardevoir. He was able to help us this week for an emergency podcast because Sarah couldn't join us this week, unfortunately. Next week, hopefully, we will be able to do our Twilight fanfictions. I'm very excited for that. The main theme of our show is Monokuma's Lesson from the game Danganronpa. The royalty-free music is by Kevin MacLeod on his website, incompetech.com. That's INCOMPETECH. He is completely unaffiliated with us. We just get his music from his website. Thank you for listening, and remember to have a better ending for the ending of your podcast because I forgot to do one. Goodbye!